Thank you for participating in the first ever What's Wrong with That Headline competition. One guy got it right. A bunch of y'all had tried and did a good job, but you made it way too complex than it needs to be. So the answer to our What's Wrong with This Headline, let's just read back the headline. California just hit 95% renewable energy. Will other states come along for the ride? So we're just going to read down here just a second because we're going to show you a couple things. I'll say it again. California hit 95% renewable energy. All right, hold on a sec. All right, so a couple things that you guys pointed out. 94% was just for 4 seconds. 4 seconds, all right. So again, this isn't the answer. I'm going to share with the answer. Specific to the state's main power grid, which covers 4/5 of California, doesn't include Los Angeles, Sacramento, and other regions. All right. That's all fine too. All right, gotcha. And fossil fuels are actually doing their part. More than 94.5 figure might suggest California was producing enough clean power supply, nearly 95% of it needs, but it's also burning enough, a bunch of natural gas and exporting electricity to its western neighbors. All right, the answer to our first ever What's Wrong with This Headline, episode number 1. All right, so remember, California just hit 95% renewable energy. Will other states come along? Now, a couple of you guys pointed out a couple of things. You said, hey, isn't this interesting? There's several caveats because you pointed that out. You actually read the article, which is good. The record was fleeting. It lasted just 4 seconds. Now, part 2 of this, you all said, you point out, it was specific to the state's main power grid, which didn't include Los Angeles, Sacramento, and several other regions. Yeah, okay. And then we can read all kinds of stuff down here. But at the end of the day, what does it not include? This is huge. You got to understand this. All right, so let's go to what's up with that and the triumphant march toward 100% renewable electricity in Germany and California. So let's go down to California. Perhaps you were excited by the headline from the LA Times. April 29th was just the very day that Sniffy Joe had announced 80% of U.S. electricity from renewables by 2030. Now California's already showing the world how it's doing because they're way ahead and basically all the way to home plate. Something remarkable happened we're going to talk about. All right, but maybe we shouldn't get too excited just yet. First, the author, Sammy Roth, says this was 95% renewable energy. It turns out you need to read further before you realize he's only talking about electricity, which is only 30% of energy consumption. And for how long do the renewables provide the 95% consumption? For 4 seconds. But remember, electricity is only 30% of overall energy. So what's the real picture over the course of a couple months? You have to ignore the cheerleading reporters of the mainstream media and try to find some aggregate statistics. Here are the figures from California Energy Commission for the full year. The total contribution to electricity supply from renewables is claimed to be 33%. Oh, that includes 2.5% from biomass, 5% from geothermal, and 1.39% from small hydro. Take out those two and you're left with 24% from wind and solar. Since electricity is only about 30% of final energy consumption, that means that wind and solar are only contributing about 8% of total energy consumption. Over at the website, at the CAISO, the California Independent System Operator, they provide a chart for every day's electricity production that dramatically illustrates the problem. California's peak electricity demand is about 40 gigawatts, generally occurring around 6 to 8 p.m. The large majority of the renewable production is from solar. Their current solar capacity on a sunny, midsummer day like today provides about 12 gigawatts from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. All right, so the max production is 12 gigawatts. Their peak is at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. when the sun's going down 40 gigawatts. And what does it do with the solar? It doesn't do anything because the sun's down, including at the time of peak usage. In the winter, the output is more like 8 gigawatts from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and nothing the rest of the time. So far, they have almost nothing in the way of grid-scale energy storage. In the evening, they ramp up their natural gas plants and import power from Arizona and Nevada, mostly natural gas, nuclear, and coal. Close to 30% of California's electricity comes from imports from neighboring states. Remember, anytime you hear energy, always are they talking total energy or just electricity? There is a big difference. And the fact that this guy from the LA Times did not differentiate that shows the mainstream media is idiotic when it comes to stuff.